But I do want to scoot ahead, cross the pond the other way. UEFA Women's Nations League semifinals. We had a couple biggies. Let's start with the world champs. Spain taking on Netherlands. This one went down in Spain. Really impressive showing from España in this one. Sometimes it can be hard not to conflate what's happening with the Spanish national team and what's happening at Barcelona. Spain did start 6 Barca players. Plus Aitana, Olga Carmona, Jenni Hermoso, and the two Layas, Arsenal's Codina, and City's Alexandri. Spain sort of cruised in this one. Netherlands had some chances early, mostly created by Lynette Bierenstein, Esme Brooks, Miedema, and Lika Martens, but I think their midfield kind of let them down a little bit in this one. Weird lineup too, but we will cut them some slack at the ITC. I mean, they're only out here trying to slow down the world champions, as mentioned. Spain, though, in full control of this one in the first half. Salma Paralluelo, few rock-solid chances before Jenni Hermoso and Aitana both notched goals before halftime. I don't know, man. I was really, really impressed with the chemistry of this Spain team. I mean, I know they're World Cup champions, so obviously they're doing something right. But I think we're generally used to seeing club teams look more cohesive than even the best national teams. Yeah. But this Spain side might be the exception to the rule. I mean, am I crazy, or is there something really, really and truly special about the Spanish national team? Maybe it's a combination of the talent plus the adversity that they've gone through as an organization. Mm-hmm. You know, they also seem like they all learn how to play like this unstoppable brand of football, like at the exact same time. Like as a country, it's like they all unlock something. Keep in mind, Spain played in their first World Cup in 2015. And this summer, they'll make their first appearance in the Olympics. They've never been there. Outside of their first appearance in the Euros, which came in 97, it took them until 2013 to get back to the Euros. So this is like ascending from obscurity to the absolute top of the mountain in 10 years' time. In your opinion, what exactly are we witnessing here with this team? Like maybe a little recency bias, but in an imaginary matchup, and obviously ignoring the fact that there's so much overlap, I think I might pick the Spain team to beat Barcelona, which seems crazy. Just last week, I'm saying, okay, this is the best women's team ever assembled, but I'm not so sure, man, after watching that. Are my eyes playing tricks on me, or is this maybe the perfect storm for the creation of a truly generational team?
I think you're 100% right. Think about it like this. What if we had 2 of our 4 defenders were Ona Batlle and Irene Paredes from Barcelona? Oh, but then we add Olga Carmona as one of those defenders now. Like, what? Like, come on now. Like, we're talking about 3 of the I'm not sure where people fall on Paredes, but like with Batlle and Carmona, we're talking about 2 of, at worst, the 10, 12 best defenders in the world. Like, at absolute worst, depending on where you land with Batlle. We might be talking about 2 of the 7 best, 2 of the 5 best.
I mean, they both made our. I think they both made our starting 11s last year, so
I think they did.
We'll just start there.
Yeah,
they might be a little higher than 10, 12.
Yeah, and so I would challenge anybody to give us a single reason why this Spanish team isn't capable of a generational run. I think that's done and dusted. We know what this team is capable of, and I think you make a really great point about the addition of not only do they have great players, not only do a lot of those great players play together at the club level, but however woo-woo or, like intangible it sounds, the adversity that these players have gone through together, I can't be talked off the point that brings people as human beings closer together. That makes you more invested in each other's success. Like, I love a good comparison of college football in America to professional soccer, but I've heard college football coaches say it, and it's one of the few things I agree with them on, is that if your team loves each other, I know it sounds corny, I probably sound somewhat ridiculous, but when you have a team full of people who love each other and care about each other's success, that absolutely translates to the field. You can see it.
Absolutely. You can also see it after Jenni Hermoso's first goal.
Yes.
Their manager, Montserrat Tomé, like, she just let out a fucking fist pump, like, yeah, I'm running this shit now, and like we're just gonna do it differently. The energy was just beautiful. Like they had some like FU to them in the World Cup. Especially like when they would shun the manager or just be like, all right, he was like looking for someone to high five after the match. But they feel almost even more cohesive now that they're like, all right, we're running this show, and they're just doing it on the field, off the field. It's really fucking incredible.
It's fantastic. And so you asked the question, can they be a generational team? Is this a perfect storm for them to be a generational team? I think in my mind, yes. And I think some of it comes down to what people consider generational, right? So I think, and I think we'll talk more about this later, but I think they would be a slight favorite over France at the Olympics. That's
Mm,
probably saying a lot considering the games are going to be played in Paris. But and I had to throw this caveat in here, with the Lionesses out of it, Lionesses will not be appearing because of the draconian Olympic rules.
ridiculous.
Not because we lost games we should have won. But I think the possibility of seeing a final in the Olympics of France versus Spain, Spain versus the USA, or France versus the USA are all pretty enticing. So I want to ask, can I interest you in any of those three matchups? And which ones do you like the best?
Well, it's interesting because we're going to get France versus Spain on Wednesday in
Exactly.
the Nations League final. I thought it was really interesting that France was like, yeah, we're already in the Olympics. We don't really need this. Germany needed that one. They needed to reach the final to punch their ticket to the Olympics. Couldn't get it done. Obviously, the game's
Mm-hmm.
taking place in Lyon, so that was tough. But we're going to get Spain, France next week, buddy. So let's get
It's a
ready.
preview.
How can you not pick Spain, USA? I
Come on.
mean, especially like the Rocky 2 parallels. The US getting knocked out in the 23 World Cup, dusting themselves off, going up against Apollo, looks unbeatable.
I love it.
That one would just be glorious. Spain, USA. And I think we are going to learn quite a bit because if the USA can really play this like link up style, I mean, it felt like watching the USA sorry to kind of rewind back a little bit. It felt like for years we never passed the ball back to create some forward action again. It was just like it was like a one way street all the time. And I think you
Yeah.
watch Spain or Chelsea or Barcelona or Lyon, all the passes go in every single direction. The pass goes where the defense is not and where the opportunity is, right? And I think
Yeah.
like if the US can kind of make that evolution, and on the flip side, if Spain can, you got like Paralluelo, like she's still not even 21 years old yet.
Right.
So you have her continuing to mature. Olga Carmona is 23 years old. Like these are still players not yet in their prime. So you've got the
Oof.
best team with more players. Shout out to Jenni Hermoso too. I think she's 33. She's early 30s for sure.
Yeah.
That was one big difference between the Spain team and the Barcelona team. Like you kind of see her steadying of the ship, how important she is, and just kind of their reaction after getting the goal. But I gotta go Spain USA,
Yeah.
especially if like things continue to trend. Slight caveat where France feels like they might be coming on. We'll see on Wednesday.
Obviously, France USA, we've seen them lock up in gigantic matches before in World Cups. I'm with you. Spain USA, you got all kinds of parallels, even thinking about everything the Spanish national team went through, everything the USA national team has gone through, like through 2019 and equal pay and all that stuff. Like there are a lot of juicy storylines, and the players on the pitch are just fantastic. So,
Come on.
I mean, Spain, France next week, that's going to be phenomenal. And then to see it again, potentially, or to see these other heavy hitters go at it with the real stakes of the Olympics, what a time to be alive. But I will say, and I got to tell you, just there is a part of me in the back of my mind when you talk about Paralluelo and Carmona's age. It's just part of me as an England fan where I'm just like, that's a nightmare. That's not great. I don't love that. Like I got faith in England's ability to develop young players, but fuck, man, that's tough.
Well, I mean, you guys got think about the youngings, Keating, LJ, a couple others that are still pre-prime. So I don't
Oh
know.
yeah,
It's like the water level on the sport is just
yeah,
rising at an astronomical fucking rate. Even from like the World Cup, like we're seeing teams kind of like make leaps off of that, Brazil, Colombia not included. But remember that USA Vietnam game where it was like
mm-hmm.
2-0 or 3-0 and just like, what the fuck did we just watch? Like we just sweated out 3-0 against Vietnam. But yeah, I think like just an exciting time. I want to follow up on your pop quiz, little thought exercise of my own. In your opinion, which of these do you think is more likely? Barca wins a Champions League. We've seen them maybe teeter, or not quite full wobble, but
Yeah.
maybe a little baby teeter. Or Spain wins the gold medal at the Olympics.
Ooh, okay. This is a great question because I do think the double is super live. I think both could happen. Not sure where we can get the betting odds on that parlay. I'll look into it. I'll get back to you on that. Different podcast.
Different pot.
um, but I feel like, okay, if you're going to make me choose, I think the whirlwind of an Olympic tournament, it allows for more randomness than a Champions League run where you have like the two ties and the knockout rounds. So I'm going to say it's more likely, this hurts my heart a little bit, but it is more likely that Barcelona is sharpened by the ironclad club that is Braun. And I'll say it's probably more likely that Barcelona is able to get through and win the Champions League than it is for España to win the Olympics.
I take your point on, maybe Barcelona getting sharpened, by the Braun matchup. But on the flip side, no Braun in the Olympics.
That's true.
I don't know, just
Getting
saying.
your ass whipped, yeah. You're not playing you're not playing a bunch of Clubber Langs out there. So let me throw this at you because I was thinking about this. So USA won the gold medal in the Olympics in 1996, which were home matches for them, that Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia. And as some might recall, the USA won the World Cup on July 10th, 1999. If we have younger viewers and listeners, I'd recommend that you Google that one. That was a good match. Exciting ending to that match, as it was. In 2012, USA won the Olympic gold medal and then went on to win the World Cup in 2015. And as far as I can tell, as far as my caveman brain can process, those look like they're the only two times that a national team has won a gold medal in the Olympics and the World Cup, or vice versa, like in any order, as far as I could tell looking at the records. So to win the World Cup and then win a gold medal back to back, it would appear that's a bit of a tricky proposition.
Yeah, I like your call of the maybe double. Spain is just cooking right now.
Amazing.
It was funny to see. I mean, Netherlands had a tough time. They were playing Sharita Spitzer like at the absolute middle of the park. A little weird.
Yeah.
Danielle Van de Donk couldn't really get going. Jackie Gronin, like she had her hands full, trying to run back and forth against that Barcelona attack. Up front, Netherlands was threatening, but once they couldn't break through first 20, 25 minutes, you kind of knew it was a wrap. And then Barca gets the 2 before halftime. The second one was a real backbreaker from Aitana. And it just feels like they've got such a good mix. We talked about like Barcelona's mix being a little weird. It's a lot of like people that can score from anywhere from 25 yards in. They could put a shot wherever they want it.
Right.
The Spain team's got, I think, a little bit more balance, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
Paralluelo's like the one. She's got her spot. Aitana's got her spot. Hermoso's like kind of coming in and, just playing really smart football. Carmona and Batlle, they're up and down the field, basically playing the entire 100 yards.
Right.
But if the U.S. keeps trending in that direction, by that point, Emma Hayes will be in the building. So now we're going to be getting it straight from the source with regard to kind of like what we want to do, all the game planning, and I think a little bit more maturation from some of these young players that we were able to get excited about. All in all, I think super, super pumped. I think it's really excellent historical context thinking about just how difficult it is to go back-to-back World Cup Olympics or vice versa. So we're going to stay locked in. We've still got a lot of international football between now and the Olympics. Let's head to the other matchup, Nations League semifinal, France versus Germany.